Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann, and this is the award-winning Fan Show. That's right, everyone's a fan of something, and we have got something for every fan, unless you're a fan of incubators of trash talk. If you are looking for an incubator of trash talk, you have come to the wrong place. Simply stated, that is not this show. There's certain things in life that just make you laugh, but not today. I mean, that gave me a chuckle, yes, but I think something that makes me want to celebrate.
All right, Tom, get the play. Miami. South Beach, bringing the heat.
49ers are Super Bowl bound, heading to Miami. Turn up the nostalgia. Yeah. It's probably all I can get away with before Facebook's just like, you don't own the rights to that music. And I'm like, I know I don't. I'm not Will Smith. But, what a glorious weekend, Fan Nation. I mean, unless you're a Packers fan or a Titans fan, it probably wasn't all that glorious. But for me, for the 49ers fans, for the Chiefs fans out there, it was a glorious weekend. It was. Just let it wash over me. Yep. Glorious weekend. So, no special guest today. Just kind of wanted to celebrate that we now have our Super Bowl matchup. It will be Super Bowl 54, LIV, Roman numerals for 54, for those of you playing the home game. And it will feature the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. So the obvious question, of course, that we will do today and probably Thursday and then next week, some combination of it. Other poll questions would be, who you got? You know, I mean, my choice is obvious. I'm going to go with team red and gold. Ain't no doubt about that. Yeah. I'm excited. Look, the season starts in September, unless you count preseason, which I don't. I don't count preseason. I really don't. But so the season starts in September. So you have September, October, November, hopefully December. Like, hopefully you go deep into December without thinking, okay, well, who are we going to draft? You know, hopefully December is a good month for your team. December was a very exciting month for a lot of teams this year, so it was great. So September, October, November, December. And then you want January, right? You want January to be a long, good month for your team. And then you're hoping maybe a little bit of February, just a little bit of February. You can go into February. So, I mean, 6 months, just shy of 6 months of what you hope to be your team's season. 32 teams enter, all with the same hope and dream. And then it comes down to 2. And then only one will be champion. And of course, those that say it can't, you know, obviously if you're a Browns fan, you shouldn't go into a season with the expectation that your team's going to go to the Super Bowl. The 49ers were 4-12 last season, okay? You can go from worst to first. So I don't say temper your expectations. It's good to be optimistic. I'm the eternal optimist. I love being optimistic. I like people who are optimistic. Don't be negative, Nancy. There's no need for you. There's just not. So be optimistic, be happy, be proud of your team, and think that the sky is actually the limit, because the truth be told is that it could be. Up until this year, there was only one other team to go from worst to first, and that was the Rams of 99. That's right, back when they were still in St. Louis. Greatest show on turf. And it can happen. Now it's happened a second time. So anytime somebody says to you that infamous quote from Dumb and Dumber, you're saying there's a chance. There actually is a chance. So whatever your team is, the Bengals, the Colts, the Jaguars, the Chargers, what other teams didn't do very well this season? The Lions. There is a chance for your team. And I'm sorry that it's not this year, but it's okay. So we'll go ahead and get to headlines. We'll talk a little bit about it. I know today's episode is not going to be for everybody, and that's the point. That's why there's not a guest. I'm not going to make those of you that aren't Chiefs or 49ers fans or just fans of football in general that want to see a good Super Bowl hang around, for another 20 minutes until we get to the guest. Look, this is an episode that if you don't want to hang around and celebrate and reflect on what has been a great NFL season, really, with a lot of good stuff, not just if you're a Niners fan, but obviously you have some stuff to look forward to. If you're a Vikings fan, if you're also a Texans fans, you probably have a lot of stuff that you can look forward to. Hopefully the Texans get better next year. I thought they did exceptionally well this season. A lot of people wrote them off early. If you're a Ravens fan, you've got a hell of a lot to look forward to. A Patriots fan? I don't know. Do you have a lot to look forward to if you're a Patriots fan? That's a big question mark in the NFL right now, is the Patriots. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. Is this the end of the road? Is this the end of their time together? I could have swore I saw a tweet or something that said Tom Brady had signed a 2-year extension, but I wasn't sure if it was like satire or a joke or what. So we'll get to headlines. We'll get to your comments. Whoever sticks around, great. We're going to be talking about this as well as the rest of the headlines. There are some from the IFL, and then there's some from the XFL. So strap in, hold on tight. Here we go. And, of course, headlines are brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises. They want to customize your world, and they can do just that. If you hit them up at dynamiteenterprises.com, they can do everything for you. Foam fingers, I bet they can do these. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've seen foam fingers done by them. They can do custom shirts, beanies, hats, all that good stuff, promotional things if you need it. They can do those tall banners. They can do tablecloths. They can do backdrops. You name it, chances are they can do it. So go ahead and look at dynamiteenterprises.com or hit up Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com if you know what you want and you want to get a quote. And don't forget Undisputed Belts, the official belt provider of the Fan Show. They do an amazing job. Adam Le Champion is looking forward to receiving his Fan Nation Fantasy Football League Championship belt shortly. And then, of course, if you've ever seen the Fan Show Tour, we have a player of the game who gets to don the Fan Show belt every time that there is a player of the game, if they are the lucky one, or two, or group. We've done many, many things with the player of the game belt. So go to undisputedbelts.com for all of your belt needs. Anyway, we're talking Super Bowl, and let's just see what we've got for comments. Hello, everyone. I see Adam, Matt, Devin, Matt, the other Matt, Jamie, and even the Mrs. Fan Show has joined. Good to see all of you. Adam says it's the Fan Show, same great taste, and zero sugar. Oh, there's a lot of sugar in the Fan Show. It gets spicy, too. So there's sugar, spice, and everything nice. Yeah, that's the Fan Show for you. Hint of vanilla, though. I will say a hint of vanilla and probably caramel as well. I do love a good caramel vanilla latte or a chai vanilla latte. Those are okay. I'm getting off track here. Adam, stop with the food and drink talk. Okay, we got to focus here on Super Bowl. Let's see here. Adam also says the Elvis Gerbach Bowl. It's actually the Joe Montana Bowl because Joe, the man himself, says that he guarantees, because Stone Cold said so, that one of his teams will win. Or I guess the actual quote is, I guarantee that my team will win. For those of you that don't know, Joe Montana played for both the 49ers and the Chiefs, which is one of those things that I use when I try to argue that Tom Brady is, in fact, not the greatest of all time, not even the greatest quarterback of all time, because Joe Montana, like Brett Favre, like Peyton Manning, didn't just do it with one team. They did it with another team. Now, Peyton Manning, though, I would say he's probably the best football mind out there because you had to wonder at a certain point in Peyton Manning's career who's really running the show on offense. Is it John Fox or Gary Kubiak, or is it Peyton Manning? You know, There are very few players in any sport that you have to wonder who has more pull for what the team is doing and their success or not success. I feel like LeBron James, when he went back to Cleveland, probably had a lot more pull and say than any coach that they could have ever hired during his time there. Peyton Manning was probably one that got the final say on a lot of things. Tom Brady, I would say Tom Brady if he was literally on any other team than the Patriots, because I feel like Belichick is almost where the buck stops, like, period. You know what I mean? Like, you have Bill Belichick is the one guy that you would not cross. There was that running back that had an incredible Sunday night, Monday night game. He showed up like 10 minutes late to practice the next day. You never heard from him again because Bill Belichick will take shit from no one. So Tom Brady probably just does whatever Josh McDaniels tells him to do, or Belichick, whoever's really running the show there. And hello to our furry daughter, Baby Kitty. She's watching as well. Love you. Let's see. Adam says it's also the Steve Bono Bowl. I'm not familiar with Steve Bono. The name rings a bell, but I can't put a face to it. Matt says, or Alex Smith. Yeah. This is the Alex Smith, Joe Montana, and anybody else who has gone this path bowl. I personally think it's going to be a very entertaining game. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be a higher scoring game or necessarily a lower scoring game. It's just you have two teams that are very different. Okay, you have the 49ers, who everybody is criticizing Jimmy Garoppolo on big stages like the NFC Championship game for only throwing 8 passes. And it's like they didn't have to throw any more passes than that. It just, look, this is that time of year. The match is set. You've got 2 weeks you've got to fill with storyline. And when it comes to something like this where there's maybe not a whole lot of history other than the guys like Joe Montana, Alex Smith, or the fact that this is the team that Garoppolo tore his ACL against and then they ended up doing terrible that season. There was CJ Beathard, there was Nick Mullins, but then they got Nick Bosa out of it. So, like, was it really that big of a loss or was it fate? And now they're going to play that team again. And Patrick Mahomes, the hottest thing since sliced bread, and talks like Kermit the Frog. And like, those are the storylines that you have, but you can only milk those for so much, because this isn't like whenever we had Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game and all that history, or this isn't as if the Jets would have gone to the Super Bowl to play the Packers when Brett Favre was playing for the Jets. There's not the controversial storyline with this Super Bowl, and I absolutely love that. I love it so much. Andy Reid doesn't have any kind of ties with San Francisco, and Kyle Shanahan doesn't have any kind of ties with Kansas City. I mean, there were some ties with the Green Bay game because Mike LaFleur coaches for the 49ers and Matt LaFleur obviously is the head coach for Green Bay. But I just love that this is about as football-y a matchup as you can get, and media is just going to start grasping at straws. I love it. I love it. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of criticism, a lot of comments about Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And I say, whatever, man. Look, the better team is going to win. Plain and simple. I want a controversy-free Super Bowl where there is no doubt, where you're talking about the game for 4 quarters and 60 minutes of awesome football instead of one play that people are going to bitch and moan about. That's all I want. It's really all I want. Look, like, if the Chiefs are going to win this, win definitively, right? If the 49ers are going to win definitively. Whether that's by 1 point, 3 points, 7, or 20, no controversy. Which is why I loved the way that the championship games went for both teams, which they both went exactly as I predicted. I was a guest on Just Another Football Show with Jeremy from Iowa, and they said, how do you see these games going? I said, look, Tennessee is a great team, but they need to control the ball on their end. They need to basically keep Pat Mahomes in the offense off the field. If Kansas City ends up going up by 14 points or 2 scores, roughly, it's going to be too big of a deficit for Tennessee to overcome. They just don't have the quick strike, flash boom factor that Kansas City did. Their defense was good. I don't know if I'd say their defense was great. Their scheming and game planning, though, my goodness. Mike Vrabel, where have you been our whole lives? He's what Matt Patricia was supposed to be, Mike Vrabel, plain and simple. That's what people of Detroit thought they were getting from Matt Patricia, is what Mike Vrabel is doing in Tennessee. Just the fact that he knows the game and the handbook and the rules front to back. I mean, taking delay of games and running the clock. I mean, when he's in control, when the Titans are in control of the game, I don't know if there's a team out there that can beat them even on their best day, but clearly Kansas City did. It was one of Kansas City's best days because that run from Mahomes and just getting the 3-and-out the next series on Tennessee, it really started to turn the table. So I said if they end up 2 scores or about 14 points behind Kansas City at any point in the game, didn't matter if it was first quarter or last quarter, it was going to be too much for them to overcome, and it was. For San Francisco and Green Bay, I said if Kyle Shanahan can play this game the way that he wants to, in other words, if it's not a shootout, and if it's where he is doing exactly what he wants to do with the ball, which is have the defense out there to make Aaron Rodgers' life miserable and run it down their throats, they're going to win this game. It's exactly what happened. So I predicted both of those for those of you that are wondering. Matt says KC's 0 versus offense versus San Francisco's defense is going to be epic. Yes. Kansas City's offense, San Francisco's defense is the matchup that everybody will be watching. But the matchup that is going to define the outcome of this game will be the San Francisco offense against the Kansas City defense. They're both good. But on the flip side, Kansas City's offense is great, and San Francisco's defense is great. I love defense. So trust me when I say they're really freaking good. Adam says, when you have a running back that rushes 220 yards and 4 touchdowns, you don't need to throw the damn ball. You don't. You don't. Adam, amen. High five to you. It's so true. Like, the criticism, I'm honestly baffled by, because it just, wow. So I'm going to have my friend, Mr. Rollback, Daryl Lee Owens, on the show Thursday. And he's a big Packers fan. And I said, look, I don't want to have you on today because I don't want it to feel like I'm rubbing it in. You know, I kind of wanted this episode to be like my episode, my chance to celebrate and, you know, be hyped. Because look, I don't like to trash talk. I don't, and I'm not going to on this episode. And I probably won't, you know, all the way to the Super Bowl. But I don't like to be one of those obnoxious fans that's just like, yeah, we're going to beat the crap out of you and blah, 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 blah. And then when it doesn't happen, I look like a freaking moron. But when it does, and it's just like, yeah, I told you, you know, don't mess with me. I hate those fans. I don't want to be one of those fans. But when it comes to your team has punched their ticket to the Super Bowl, it's like you can celebrate a little. You can kind of loosen up. Like, I'm not going to trash talk, but, you know, I'm going to celebrate. Like, this is a hard place to get to. And I think there's a lot of fan bases that know for very different reasons. As a 49ers fan, I know how hard this road is to get to because up until the Harbaugh days, San Francisco hadn't even been really in the conversation for a while. I mean, in the 90s, they had Steve Young, and there was a great rivalry with the Packers. There really was. Like, they had moved on from the Cowboys. Now it's Green Bay, and it was Steve Young, Brett Favre, and those were great. But there were no Super Bowl appearances, right, after the 94 season. So you have that whole drought. You have the guys like, what? You had Cody Pickett, Jim Drunkenmiller. Yeah, that's a real name. Yeah, that was actually a 49ers quarterback. You draft Alex Smith. Aaron Rodgers hates you for it. And then you get Patrick Willis, and you get Bowman, and you get this awesome defense. And you get Harbaugh, and now it's like things are actually coming together. And so you get to 3 NFC championship games, but only get to the Super Bowl once, and you lose. Like, look, it's a tough place to get to. And then if you're a Browns fan or a Lions fan, you're just like, we've never even, like, sniffed at it, really. Bills fans, they've been to 4 and lost all 4. It's just, you want to savor the moments that you can. And for me, that's from the NFC Championship games of the Super Bowl, because they could lose the Super Bowl, absolutely. But it doesn't nullify the incredible season that they had, going from worst to first. So I'm going to enjoy the time to celebrate, because that time to celebrate is now. And if they win, I'm going to buy a shitload of Super Bowl champion merch. You won't even believe it, because I cried myself to sleep last night that the fact that all the road white Joey Bosa Super Bowl jerseys were sold out, and I didn't even have a chance. At him. So anyway, let's see. Looks like Jason is joining me. Jason, I'm not rubbing anything in, bud. Okay, he's a Packers fan. Here's the question, though, that I'm going to ask my buddy Daryl to get his thoughts that I want to pose to you guys right now. Look, if you're a Green Bay fan, are you kind of pissed at Aaron Rodgers? And now, let me clarify by stating I do not think that the loss to San Francisco in the championship game was in any way, shape, or form Aaron Rodgers' fault. Wasn't. He still made the plays he needed to. He was getting sacked. He was being pressured. His defense didn't exactly give him a whole lot of breathing room. But I don't think that game can be solely placed on his shoulders. I don't even think more than 40% of the blame could be placed on him. I mean, we're talking 30 to 40% of the blame, because at the end of the day, he is still the quarterback. He is still Aaron Rodgers. So a little bit of blame. But the fact that people think that he was the reason they lost, no, that's ridiculous. Very unrealistic. What I mean, though, for you Packers fans, is are you pissed at what motivates him? So he's mad, and has been mad for 15 years with that chip on his shoulder that the 49ers did not draft him at number 1 overall. Now, mind you, Pat Mahomes has a similar chip on his shoulder that has been motivating him, and Lamar Jackson, also a similar chip, that they were drafted late. There were 10 teams that drafted players before Pat Mahomes was drafted. Several of those were quarterbacks, including Mitchell Trubisky. So Pat Mahomes is upset that X number of teams passed over him before he was finally drafted by the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson, same thing. He's upset because so many teams passed over him before he was finally drafted by the Ravens. And even then, he was criticized for being a tight end running back that they've forced into the quarterback position. With Aaron Rodgers, though, it's not that he was drafted late. It's not that he wasn't the number 1 overall pick. He's upset because the 49ers didn't draft him. I say again, it's because one team didn't draft him. Forget the other 31 teams in the NFL, or I guess 30 because the Packers did draft him. The chip on his shoulder has been that he wasn't taken, not even number 1 overall. They could have been the 5th pick in the draft, but that he wasn't drafted by the 49ers. So as a Packers fan, does it upset you that his motivation isn't that he wants to be the best he can be for the city of Green Bay in a storied franchise like the Packers, that it has to be, I'm going to take every season and every chance I get to really stick it to San Francisco. And so it's like, bro, we don't even play them this season. I know, but they'll be watching because I'm Aaron Rodgers, and they'll be watching. Like, seriously, bro, like that's next season. We don't even play them in preseason. I know, but I'm going to stick it to them. Like that's how this whole thing comes across. It's like dating someone and them being like, oh, you're such an amazing boyfriend. You're just like, yeah, I want my ex to know what they're missing out on. Oh, it's not like you're not being awesome to me because you really like me. I mean, that's a little bit of it, kind of. But, I mean, really, it's just like, I want her to know how awesome I can be. So I'm going to be awesome to you. You should feel privileged. Like, that's honestly how it comes across. So Matt says, Rodgers hasn't been the same QB since he came back from the last collarbone injury. That said, the D didn't show up on Sunday. Chris says Chiefs Kingdom. We're going to talk about that, Chris. Don't you worry. Matt says every time the Packers play the Niners, it's brought up. I'm tired of hearing it. Everybody needs to get over it, even Rodgers. That's what I'm saying. There's different kinds of motivation, And as I mentioned on the show last week, spite is a motivator that will only get you so far in life. You need to stop using it as motivation because at one point it becomes a crutch. And you don't want to not be able to perform well in life because you're leaning on this crutch that honestly just shouldn't be there anymore. So I don't know if it's the media making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be, or if he honestly feels day in and day out like he still needs to be the best he can because of not 30 other teams, but just one, just the 49ers, that he's got to go and really stick it to the Bay Area. It just seems like 15 years later, you'd think that you would have found new motivation. You'd be like, city of Green Bay really needs a guy like me. You know, they had Bart Starr, they had Brett Favre. I'm going to be Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to bring a Super Bowl to this city. And he did. And he did, mind you. But I just, you know, there's something about how it's so specific. Pat Mahomes, he's upset at every team that didn't draft him before the Chiefs. I get it. I do. You play one of those teams, sticking it to him. He will reach a point, though, hopefully in his career, where that doesn't need to be his motivation anymore. Lamar Jackson, so many teams passed over him, so he goes out there and he's MVP, probably the MVP. I was going to say candidate, but let's face it, he's probably going to get the MVP vote and win it this year. He goes out there and he sticks it to 31 other teams each season. Aaron Rodgers, just the 49ers. I only want to stick it to the 49ers each year, whether we play them or not. So that's my whole thing. I would love to hear Green Bay Packer fans' perspective on that. So my friend Darrell Lee Owens, passionate Packers fan, I can't wait to get him on the show and talk to him a little bit about it. We got a new episode of Eye of the Storm tomorrow, as we are 46 days until 2020 IFL season kickoff. That's right, 2020, and the 20th season of the Sioux Falls Storm. So we have what I think is going to be the most competitive season and crop of teams and talent that the league has ever seen. I cannot wait for the season to start. Actually, I can a little bit because obviously, you know, I'm involved in it now and there's a lot of stuff still yet to do, but we're getting it done. Let's see here. Barry says, go KC, that's all. That's fine. We'll talk a little bit more about it this week and next week. And then 18 days until the XFL kicks off. So XFL, if you guys are following that at all, has really been very interesting. Intriguing, some of the concepts they've come up with as far as how they're going to do kickoff, how they're going to do point afters, which there is no field goals. You can go for 1, 2, or 3 points, and how you get those is based on where you start on the field, whether it's the 2, the 1, the 3, and the 5, I think, are the different goal lines. I haven't read over all the rules for them, but I think that they're really onto something with the way that they're going to do overtime. So that will start after the Super Bowl. So that's very exciting. J-Lo and Shakira are performing at halftime in Miami. I have no interest in that at all. But I think really the game, I'm hoping, is one of the best that we've seen. It certainly should match up to be that way. I really do hope that it's a fantastic game. Really, really I do. So we're going to have plenty of chances to break it down between now and the big day. I'm still like, it hits me in waves that the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. I'm very excited. It really, you know, I think about the last time they went, 2012, 2013. And, you know, that was a very exciting time too. This is the year that I met my wife. And, yeah, so I'm just hoping that the outcome's a little different this time. So, should be fun. Also, Justin Shirk, for those of you that follow the Indoor Football League and Arena Football League, which is obviously no more, but he comes from those days. Justin Shirk is returning to the Arizona Rattlers. I thought he was retired. He is the 2017 IFL United Bowl MVP. That was the year that they went into Sioux Falls and beat them for their first IFL United Bowl title. And he was one of my options to pick. I ultimately went with Keith Brown, who I thought had just as great of a performance, especially in the secondary, had some big key plays and turnovers. But the IFL said Shirk, I said Brown, tomato, potato. The defense was amazing in that game. There's no denying it. So welcome back, Justin Shirk. And then the Panthers of Oakland actually sent me a little thing through Twitter here. Their defensive lineman just signed with the Canadian Football League. It was, let's see here, Panthers D lineman Charles Williams signs contract with the Ottawa Red Blacks of the CFL. So congratulations to him. This is, of course, what we're hoping happens to these guys. We want them to get opportunities at different levels. In case you missed it, all the interviews that I did down in Dallas for the College Gridiron Showcase have been uploaded. You can check them out at the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, and then, of course, there's links to the YouTube channel on Twitter. I thought they all went very well. Some very promising, young, talented athletes. So go and check those out. And then let's see if there was anything else. There's a lot of guys that are announcing that they will be attending the Pro Bowl. Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, to name a few. I think the skills challenges are the funnest part of the Pro Bowl. You could do 3 days of skills challenges and not have a game, and I would be just as happy with what the Pro Bowl is, because it's flag football at this point. When they had Deion Sanders and Chris Carter drafting guys, I thought that was a lot of fun. But going back to AFC versus NFC, I'm really indifferent about it. Chris says Khalil McKenzie, former Chief, and finished the season with Seattle, signed with DC of the XFL and traded to LA today. How does that work? He was one of the last guys on the roster. Was his contract only till the end of his NFL year, then free for whatever? That I don't know, Chris. That's the first I'm hearing, and I did not know. I don't know how the contracts work with the XFL. I don't. Yeah, that I'll have to look into it. So I'm sorry I don't have an answer for you right now. But anyway. So congratulations again to Charles Williams of the, formerly of the Oakland Panthers, now of the Ottawa Red Blacks. Good luck to him at the next level. So the 49ers and their fans, myself included, made a big push for the 94 all-white alternate jerseys that they've worn a handful of times. In fact, these guys right here, they look sharp, right? Seriously. That's a sharp look. Very clean. Very clean. Very clean look. They pushed hard for it. They really did. You guys, there we go. How's that? That worked a little better. Very clean look. Denied by the NFL for one reason or another. So they will wear their road white jerseys and gold pants, which, the jersey's a jersey, but I do think that the 94 throwback alternates were a really sharp look. I do. I feel like since they're the away team and naturally would probably wear the white, that this would be a special occasion that you could maybe do it again and get an exception, but no exception. Let's see if there is anything else that we needed to cover today. Oh, the Aaron Hernandez documentary. Haven't watched it. First and foremost, I have not watched it. But it recently released on Netflix, and there's been a lot of mixed reviews about it. Look, I'll probably watch it, but I'm not going to formulate any kind of opinion based on a dramatized television series, which I think is something that people need to keep at the forefront of their mind. You never watch a Ted Bundy or a Jeff Dahmer movie or miniseries, that's an adaptation of what they believe was their real life events because of accounts based on people close to them. You don't take it as, wow, that really happened. How did they know that in the bathroom at that moment something was happening? Look, they get the cliff notes and then they fill in the blanks. It's what Hollywood does. So, if you've seen it, I would love to know your opinion because, like I said, I will probably watch it. I need to know what I should be prepared for. And let's see. Chris says, did you find a Super Bowl patch? I've looked, but not official ones. So are the Chiefs jerseys, are they sold out too? Did they sell all those out? Man, it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. But no, I have not. I didn't look for the patch itself. I kind of wanted to get the whole combo, the jersey and the patch together. But hopefully, obviously if they win or even if they don't, I would like to get a Super Bowl jersey. I remember I waited last time they went. I was like, if they win, I'll get the jersey because I don't want the jersey if they lose, because I felt like that was the equivalent of people from the South who, show off their Confederate flag. It's just like, you lost. But it's like a point of pride or whatever. Probably a terrible example now that I think about it, but you get the idea. Like, I didn't want to wear something that was of a losing effort, but I think back and it's like that squad was so legit for the 49ers. Justin Smith, even Aldon Smith, despite his off-field issues, but Bowman, Willis, you still had Staley, and then of course you had Alex Smith, Frank Gore, Vernon Davis, and Crabtree. I should have gotten it anyway. I should have gotten one of those anyway because I love that squad, and that was, they still got to the Super Bowl even if they didn't win. So I kind of wanted to do it differently this year. I wanted to get it just because it's like, look, win or lose, this was a great season. I'm proud of this season. This is where they made it to. Did they win? Did they lose? It doesn't matter. So I'm a little sad that I couldn't track down a Super Bowl jersey. I feel like that's kind of long-awaited karma for not getting the jersey for the reasons I didn't last time. It is what it is. Chris says, I have a Tyrann Mathieu jersey from a month ago that's stitched, and they didn't have those, just the screen-printed ones. Yeah, I got the notification through email and saw it on Facebook that the championship gear was now available, including the Super Bowl jerseys, but they hadn't even announced what jersey they were wearing. They were showing the red, the white, the black. I was like, they're not going to wear the black. So I had hoped that they were going to find a way to pull off wearing the 94 alternate white jerseys, and I'd be like, yeah, let's get one of those with the Super Bowl patch on it. So I was like, I'll wait because they'll make an official announcement here in the next day or two. And then they did. But even before it was officially announced, I was on the site and I was looking, and it's like they weren't sold out, but I went and they were out of my size. They only had medium and 5 or 4 XL, and I'm like, really? So I was pretty bummed about that. Let's see. Adam says the pro image at the mall had the Steve Young jersey. You could have got me. You could have, but you didn't have to. I was just in there. All the 49ers and Chiefs stuff was gone. I was sad because it's before December, you could get 49ers stuff in bulk. Now it's gone. Bandwagon's full. Please catch another. Infamous Fall Out Boy lyrics. Good to see you, Brian. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for the Super Bowl bound episode. I've probably talked enough. And like I said, this episode was more for me. I wanted to hang out, celebrate with you guys, pose a couple of questions. But the headlines we went over, 18 days until XFL, 46 days until IFL. So even though the NFL season may be coming to a close, and it's going to be a great finale for me as a 49ers fan, and then for my fellow Chiefs fans, friends, whatever you want to call them. It's going to be a great finale for us, and I can't wait. I'm like I said, very excited about everything that has been going on. 2020 has been great so far. Hopefully it only gets better. So don't forget, if you're a Storm fan, new episode of Eye of the Storm will be tomorrow at 5 Central Time. Then we will have an all-new episode of The F.A.N Show, hopefully featuring Daryl Lee Owens, if no scheduling conflicts come up on Thursday. Then the weekend, and then we'll have 2 brand new episodes leading us into the Super Bowl. So we'll do the official countdown. And hopefully you like the Super Stash. Please blame Thomas for that. It was not an easy thing to do. It has not been an easy adjustment. I will probably never do it again. But for right now, it is the Tom Selleck or the Brian Fantana, or maybe even the Ron Swanson. But those are several iconic mustaches out there. It's not quite the Ron Burgundy, but I looked up famous mustaches, and the Brian Fantana, ironically, Paul Rudd, who's a huge Chiefs fan. Anyway, he had a good look, and Anchorman 2. So anyway, that will do it for episode 444 of The F.A.N Show. Who's winning the Royal Rumble? The last one in the ring. Yeah, I'm very confident in that pick. For both the men and the women, the last person standing in the ring will be the winner of the Royal Rumble. That's my Booger McFarlane, John Madden wisdom I have bestowed upon you. The last person standing in the ring will win the Royal Rumble. So remember, it's not official unless it's Fan Show official, and we are officially out of here. So remember, like, listen, love, share, subscribe. We've got iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Spreaker.com, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So go give us a like, go give us a follow, a share, tell all your friends. If you're looking for incubators of trash talk, this is not the place for you. This is the Fan Show. Everyone's a fan of something, and we've got something for every fan. Even if right now you're a Chiefs fan, we have something for you too. So until next time, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.